One of the greatest speeches ever delivered, Steve Jobs, the visionary co-founder of Apple, in address graduates at Stanford University in 2005. His speech was profound and deeply personal, offering timeless lessons about life, failure, love, and death. Jobs structured his message around 3 stories from his own life, inviting the audience into pivotal moments that shaped who he became and how he lived. His words resonate beyond technology or business. They reflect the importance of following one's heart and embracing life's uncertainties. Jobs began by speaking about connecting the dots, sharing how dropping out of college became one of the best decisions he ever made. He described the uncertainty of that period, how he didn't know where his life was headed, but felt that quitting his formal education would allow him to explore things that truly mattered to him. Jobs wandered into random classes, one of which was calligraphy, a course that had no immediate practical purpose. Yet, years later, it profoundly influenced the typography of the first Macintosh computer. His message was clear. Sometimes the seemingly unrelated pieces of our lives come together in ways we can only understand in hindsight. He encouraged the audience to trust their instincts, even when the road ahead isn't visible, because the dots will connect someday. The second story focused on love and loss, particularly around his departure from Apple, a company he had poured his heart and soul into. Jobs recounted how, at just 30 years old, he was fired from the very company he co-founded. It was a devastating setback, but looking back, Jobs saw it as a blessing in disguise. The dismissal allowed him to rediscover his passion and start afresh with companies like Next and Pixar. Eventually, Apple bought Next, bringing him back to the company that originally cast him out. This journey, filled with failures and reinventions, was an essential part of his success. His experience underscored the importance of loving what you do. If you haven't found what you love, Jobs advised, keep searching. Don't settle. Passion, he believed, was the only way to push through tough times. The final part of his speech addressed mortality. Jobs reflected on being diagnosed with a rare form of pancreatic cancer, confronting the possibility of death for the first time. Although the initial diagnosis turned out to be treatable, the experience brought him face to face with life's fragility. This encounter with death shaped his perspective, reminding him that time is limited and not to waste it living someone else's life. He urged the graduates not to be trapped by dogma, living by other people's expectations, but to have the courage to follow their own inner voice. Jobs poignantly emphasized that, in the end, everything external fear of failure, pride, and even societal pressures fades away in the face of death, leaving only what truly matters. Throughout the speech, Jobs' words were simple but deeply impactful. His message was not just for the graduating students, but for anyone trying to navigate life's uncertainties. Jobs' approach to challenges, viewing setbacks as opportunities for reinvention, offered a roadmap for resilience. He was brutally honest about failure, acknowledging that it can be humiliating and painful, but he also stressed that it's a necessary step on the path to success. His speech radiated the belief that the journey, with all its ups and downs, is what makes life meaningful. Jobs also made a point about curiosity and creativity, highlighting how they play a crucial role in personal growth. He urged everyone to remain curious and open to new experiences, just as he had been when he stumbled into that calligraphy class. Learning for the sake of passion, without knowing where it might lead, was a recurring theme in his stories. He believed that it is often the seemingly random pursuits that spark the most profound innovations. Creativity, according to Jobs, thrives when people follow their instincts and chase what excites them, even if it doesn't seem practical in the moment. As the speech drew to a close, Jobs left the graduates with a simple but powerful message: stay hungry, stay foolish. These words encapsulate his philosophy: stay curious, keep learning, and never lose the childlike wonder that drives innovation. Being hungry reflects a relentless desire to grow, while being foolish suggests the willingness to take risks, make mistakes, and chart unconventional paths. This mantra, he believed, was key to living an authentic and fulfilled life. Jobs' speech remains one of the most inspiring messages ever delivered, not only because of what he said, but also because of how he lived his own words. His life was a testament to the power of following passion, embracing failure, and facing death with grace. Whether building revolutionary products or confronting personal challenges, Jobs' unwavering commitment to his ideals shaped both his legacy and the world we live in today. The impact of his words continues to inspire people across generations to trust their journey, embrace uncertainty, and pursue what truly matters with all their heart. The beauty of Jobs' message lies in its universal relevance, whether you're an entrepreneur, student, artist, or simply someone trying to find your way. His insights cut across boundaries. His words remind us that life is not a straight line, but a collection of twists and turns, victories and failures. What matters most is how we respond to those moments, especially the failures, which are often life's greatest teachers. Jobs demonstrated that reinvention is not only possible, but sometimes necessary. It requires humility to let go of what isn't working and courage to pursue a new direction even when the future is unclear. His reference to mortality was not a bleak reminder but a call to action. Jobs viewed death not as an end, but as a clarifying force, stripping away the trivial and sharpening the focus on what truly matters. He embraced the notion that life is finite, and because of that, it must be lived with intention and authenticity. This urgency to live meaningfully is what made his speech so profound. It was not a philosophical exercise, but a lived experience from a man who had danced on the edge of death. It was an invitation for everyone to examine their own lives and ask, am I doing what I love? If not, why not? Jobs also hinted at the importance of individuality, the need to be yourself in a world that constantly tries to shape you into something else. He warned against conforming to expectations, stressing that we must follow our inner voice. This is easier said than done, especially when society rewards predictability and punishes risk. Yet, Jobs argued, the only way to do great work is to pursue what you love with relentless determination. His life was proof of the power of following one's heart, even when the odds are against you and the path forward is uncertain. The phrase, stay hungry, stay foolish, has become a guiding mantra for countless people, a reminder to never grow complacent. It speaks to the need for continuous growth, the willingness to push boundaries, and the importance of embracing uncertainty. Jobs understood that those who dare to think differently often face ridicule or rejection, but they are also the ones who change the world. His message encourages us to remain curious, experiment without fear, and retain the audacity to believe in our dreams, even when others don't. Ultimately, Jobs' speech was not just about success, technology, or innovation. It was about life itself. It challenged everyone to live with purpose, to chase after passions, to learn from failures, and to confront the reality of death without fear. The beauty of his words lies in their simplicity. No grand theories or complicated advice, just the honest reflections of a man who lived boldly. He didn't sugarcoat the difficulties. Instead, he embraced them as part of the process, offering a vision of success that is grounded in persistence and authenticity. What makes his message timeless is the fact that it applies at every stage of life. Whether you're just starting out, midway through a career, or facing setbacks, Jobs' words serve as a reminder to keep going, to keep searching for what makes you feel alive. His belief in the power of passion, the value of failure, and the inevitability of death was not just a message for those graduates on that sunny day at Stanford. It was a gift to everyone seeking meaning and fulfillment in their journey. Even now, years after his passing, these questions remain as relevant as ever. Jobs' speech continues to inspire people around the world to break free from expectations, take control of their own narrative, and live boldly. His legacy is not just in the products he created, but in the lives he touched through his words and example. He showed us that greatness is not about perfection, but about passion, persistence, and the courage to take the road less traveled. In the end, Jobs' message boils down to a simple truth. Life is too short to settle. We owe it to ourselves to pursue what we love, to take risks, and to trust that everything will fall into place, even if the path seems unclear. His speech is a reminder that we all have the power to shape our own destiny, no matter where we are in life or what challenges we face. The dots will connect in ways we cannot foresee, and every experience, good or bad, will contribute to the person we become. As the audience sat in silence that day at Stanford, it was clear that Jobs had left them with more than just words. He had given them a way of thinking, a philosophy for living a life of meaning and impact. And that is perhaps the greatest legacy anyone can leave behind. Not just products or achievements, but ideas that inspire others to dream bigger, take risks, and live authentically. Steve Jobs' speech was not just a moment in time, it was a timeless gift, a blueprint for anyone who dares to live fully, without fear, and with unwavering passion for what truly. His words were like a spark, igniting a fire within those who heard them and those who continue to discover them today. The ripple effect of his message transcends generations, resonating with anyone facing crossroads, uncertainty, or fear. It's a reminder that we don't need to have all the answers from the start. What we need is faith in the process, a willingness to embrace failure, and the courage to follow our passions, however unconventional they might seem. Steve Jobs understood that success isn't guaranteed and that setbacks are inevitable. But he also knew that these moments when everything seems to fall apart often provide the greatest opportunities for growth. It's easy to quit when the path gets hard, but Jobs showed that perseverance is the key to discovering what lies on the other side of struggle. Every closed door is a chance to find another one, and every failure, if embraced with the right mindset, becomes a stepping stone to something greater. His story teaches us that the pursuit of purpose is a marathon, not a sprint. Jobs didn't achieve greatness overnight, nor did he avoid moments of profound doubt. Yet, what set him apart was his refusal to settle, whether it was in the design of a product or the direction of his life. His obsessive attention to detail and his unwillingness to compromise made him both a revered genius and, at times, a difficult leader. But this same relentless drive was what enabled him to build products that changed the way people communicate, work, and experience the world. There's a deeper lesson in his speech about not becoming complacent. Jobs understood that the world moves quickly and that staying relevant requires constant reinvention, not just of products, but of ourselves. He reminded us that comfort is often the enemy of progress. The moment we stop challenging ourselves or stop learning, we start to stagnate. This is where the idea of staying hungry becomes so powerful. It's not just about striving for material success, but about maintaining a mindset of curiosity, openness, and eagerness to improve. Equally important was his insistence on staying foolish. To be foolish is to remain unafraid of looking naive or inexperienced, to experiment without the guarantee of success, and to dare to believe in ideas others might dismiss. This concept is essential in a world that often values pragmatism and logic above creativity and imagination. Jobs' life is proof that some of the most extraordinary achievements come from people willing to think differently and act boldly, even when others doubt them. His speech also challenges the idea of playing it safe. Jobs urged us to make choices that align with our deepest desires, not with what seems logical or socially acceptable. This doesn't mean acting recklessly, but rather making deliberate decisions that reflect who we truly are. He emphasized that no one wants to look back on their life with regret, wishing they had lived more authentically or taken more risks. This honesty about the inevitability of death wasn't morbid, it was freeing. It gave his listeners permission to live without the fear of failure, judgment, or rejection. Jobs knew that life would end for all of us someday, and in that knowledge, he found motivation. His words remind us that we have only so much time to leave our mark, to build something meaningful, and to make an impact on the world around us. His life exemplified that impact is not always measured in grand achievements. Sometimes it's about the small moments, the connections we make, the risks we take, and the passions we pursue. Even if the world doesn't immediately recognize the value of what we create, the act of creation itself is worthwhile. After all, Jobs' legacy wasn't just about technology, it was about empowering people to think differently, to embrace their individuality, and to challenge the status quo. His products were tools that allowed people to express themselves, connect with others, and dream bigger. But his real gift was the message he left behind, that we all have the potential to do something extraordinary if we follow our passions with unwavering determination. As we reflect on his words, the question remains, how will we choose to live our lives? Will we pursue what we truly love, even if the road is difficult? Will we stay curious, continue learning, and push beyond the boundaries of what feels comfortable? And will we have the courage to embrace the uncertainty, trusting that the dots will connect, even if we don't yet know how? Jobs' speech isn't just a motivational message, it's a challenge. It challenges us to be intentional with our time, to live with passion, and to dare greatly. His life was proof that the road to fulfillment isn't smooth, but it is always worth traveling. And just as he stood before those Stanford graduates and shared his journey, his words continue to stand as a beacon for anyone searching for meaning and direction. In the end, his message is a reminder that we are the authors of our own stories. The chapters may not always unfold the way we expect, but every experience, every setback, and every triumph adds to the narrative. And just as Jobs' life was filled with unexpected twists and turns, so too will ours be. But as long as we stay true to ourselves, keep searching for what we love, and embrace the challenges along the way, we can create a life worth living, a life that matters. His speech ended with a call to action, one that echoes through time. Stay hungry. Stay foolish. These words are more than just advice, they are an invitation. An invitation to dream without limits, to explore without fear, and to live without regret. They remind us that life is short, but it is also filled with endless possibility if we have the courage to chase it. And perhaps, just perhaps, that is the greatest gift Steve Jobs left behind. The belief that we all have the power to create something beautiful with our lives if we are bold enough to try. His invitation, stay hungry, stay foolish, is not just a closing remark, but a philosophy, urging us to live with a sense of wonder, urgency, and openness. It challenges us to resist the temptation of comfort and conformity, to keep asking questions, and to pursue ideas that might seem impractical or impossible at first. Jobs understood that progress comes from those who dare to try what others dismiss, those who are willing to fail, learn, and try again. The brilliance of this mantra lies in its simplicity. It's a call to stay curious and unafraid, to never let the fear of judgment or failure extinguish the fire within us. His life shows us that it's not just about achieving success, but about constantly seeking the next challenge, the next idea, the next way to make a difference. Staying hungry isn't just about ambition, it's about maintaining the drive to keep learning, growing, and evolving. And staying foolish isn't about recklessness, but about daring to take paths that others might consider unconventional. The greatest innovators, creators, and changemakers are often those who were willing to embrace uncertainty, who didn't let the fear of looking foolish hold them back. This mindset applies not only to grand achievements, but also to the small decisions we make every day. It's in the way we choose to spend our time, the people we surround ourselves with, the risks we take, and the passions we pursue. Jobs' speech serves as a reminder that every day is an opportunity to move closer to what we truly love, to align our actions with our values, and to build a life that reflects who we really are. Each step we take, even if it seems insignificant, contributes to the larger picture, one that we might only fully understand when we look back. The power of Jobs' message lies in its realism. He didn't promise that following your heart would be easy or that success would come quickly. Instead, he prepared us for the inevitable struggles along the way. He showed that failure isn't the end, but a critical part of the journey, often leading to unexpected breakthroughs. The key is not to avoid failure, but to embrace it, to learn from it, and to use it as fuel for growth. Jobs' own setbacks, from being ousted from Apple to battling cancer, became turning points that shaped the rest of his life. In many ways, his message is an antidote to the fear that holds so many people back, the fear of making the wrong choice, of failing, or of not meeting expectations. Jobs reminds us that the only real failure is not trying at all. The only real regret is living a life dictated by fear or settling for less than what we are capable of. His story encourages us to take that leap, to trust in our journey, and to believe that even when things don't go as planned, they are still leading us to where we need to be. Perhaps the most profound aspect of Jobs' message is its focus on time. Life is finite, and knowing that should inspire, not paralyze us. Jobs' encounter with death gave him a clarity that few people achieve. It made him realize that time is our most precious resource. Every moment we waste living someone else's dream or fearing failure is a moment lost forever. His advice to live as if each day were your last is not about dwelling on death, but about living fully in the present, making choices that reflect our deepest desires and values. This sense of urgency is what makes his speech so transformative. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that we don't have endless time to figure things out. It pushes us to act now, to start that project, take that risk, or change that path we know isn't right. It urges us to be bold and intentional, to make decisions that align with what truly matters, even if they take us down an unfamiliar road. In the end, Jobs